Hello guys, welcome at a new video. Quite satisfied with the feedback from the last video and I really enjoy doing it, so therefore I've decided to introduce the Monday video as well, which I'll just use to go through the markets, analyze the markets and see what I'm seeing from the charts. Well, right now today we are facing a pretty interesting market on the equity side, as we are facing one of the biggest drop downs ever, I assume, as the Dow Jones is down about 1,000 points on the day, I guess. Yeah, it's around 1,060 points, which is one of the largest losses in one day. Probably the fear of Corona and a correction was pretty much overdue. However, what's interesting is that what we saw lately during the Iran attacks with Soleimani and Trump, and we saw gold and silver and Bitcoin move alongside each other. While gold has been doing pretty strong movements lately, as we can see, it rallied from 1560 to 1700 almost. The opposite is true for our dearest friend, the king of Bitcoin, which is dropping down. Still not that bearish at all. We are facing a pretty strong support here, but it's something to consider that I saw some articles about correlation and stuff, but the correlation can't be proved until it's actually moving together as gold or whatever. There's no correlation at all at this point. It's interesting that if we see a crisis or a recession occur because of Corona, whether it's coming from one of these wild animals markets or it's a bioweapon, which I think is most likely, doesn't really matter. It's still a new, Bitcoin is 10 years old. It's a new instrument through which we have to see whether it's a safe haven or not. There's no test, nothing yet. It's a new instrument and a new case which we're going to see. But there's interesting times ahead, and there's already interesting times today, through which we see that Bitcoin is still ranging around. It's funny that if we check the market, then what you see is that we've moved about, like, well, what is it? Still, it's like 38% in the year, and people were flip-flopping from this daily candle bearish to bullish to bearish to bullish to bearish, and I didn't really switch any bias until we're gonna lose this massive support here. We're still consolidating from a big upwards move from 8.8k to 10.5k, which means that such a drop down is pretty natural and healthy for a market, unless we lose the 9.34 area, which is the support we have been using here during the summer of 2019. If we lose that area, then that's a really bad sign, as we lose the higher low structure here. As long as we remain above this level by daily closes, I sustain my bullish momentum, and I think we're doing well. If we go to the weekly time frame, through which I'll be using a different chart, hopefully it doesn't wig. It does. Maybe I've got another one. Let's see. Yeah. If we check the weekly time frame, then basically the same conclusion is drawn, right? If we hold on to this level here, there's nothing bearish at all, and even if we drop to like 8.8k, it's still a healthy retracement. However, I don't see many of these retraces occur, like to going to 8.8k, and which is like 20%. If we drop to 8.8k and make a bearish rejection at 9.5, that's pretty much crucial if we drop below 9.5. So if we make a drop down to 8.8 and we reject here, then I'm assuming we're going to see the range low around 7.5. But as long as we remain above 9.3, 9.4, I don't see much bearishness at all. It's just a consolidation through which we have seen Bart Simpson patterns occur, low volume movements, which also is a sign of range bound movements, and there's no clear direction of the market at this point. It's just moving sideways. We've seen the same pattern occur over here in January, a retracement here as well after we flipped the level. It's standard, and I don't see a reason why you should flip-flop your bias so many times. So basically the crucial area for Bitcoin is that we hold on here. Holding this level, I assume we're gonna range for a little bit more in this area, and then I preferably see a rally occur upwards with a higher low construction around 9.7.5. If we do that and flip that level, I assume we're going to see continuation upwards, and then I'm still targeting 11.6, 11.9 as main next resistance, based also on the weekly time frame, that the massive resistance is around 11.6k. And if you check this chart, yeah, it's just a healthy correction in an upwards trending move, which is normal, I assume. So that's basically it for Bitcoin at this point. If we go to the total market cap, then it's still following the plan. If you see my charts on TradingView, then you've seen that I've posted a chart about the total market cap. Basically what we see here is still what we see on the chart here as well. There's a new higher high occurred here, which was the high during June 2019. We dropped down, flipped the 170 billion level as support as a healthy retracement, rallied upwards, and now we are consolidating, which looks a bit similar as the movements we've seen in April and May of 2019, which would make it around 2.5 months before the halving right now. As long as this level remains support here, we are flipping the previous resistance as support, which means that the higher low, higher high structure and upwards trending structure is still intact. I'll just get rid of the volume as it's blurring a bit. If we hold this level in this area here, I assume we're going to see continuation, and the next target would be a new higher high, which can be drawn through Fibonacci, whatever you like. Then you get different measures. As you can see, that my main target would be 570 billion. That's why the red line here is also a 3-day resistance level. However, if we hold this level here through a healthy correction, I assume we are going to attack the 350 billion resistance, which I don't believe is going to be such a resistance at this point. I think we're gonna rally further upwards, and then I'm starting to point at 428 billion and mainly the 500 billion level, which should also target like 16-17k for Bitcoin pre-halving. Would be making another parabolic, but then we clear this area and make a new higher high after we've been making higher lows here already, and then we've got a nice new sustainable upwards trend, which we have been seeing here along as well. So that's what I'm basically watching on the cryptocurrency total market cap, which is showing a better picture than Bitcoin alone, as you've seen that Bitcoin was hopping on the 6k level here in 2018, while the total market cap just flipped downwards and made a bearish rejection, which was actually a better signal of, okay, we're going to go down even more. So as long as we stay above 250 billion, I don't see any reason to be bearish. If we lose this level around 250, then I assume we're going down some more, and then I probably mainly target 170 billion. But that would be a bit weird unless something outside the markets occurred. Let's check Ether. Still a pretty fine, healthy correction after like 100% move. Made another higher low here as well. Rallied upwards, consolidating now. Have to check the daily. Inside a range movement here, which is not unusual. We've seen the same inside range movements here as well for a while. Through which I'll still be swing trading this a lot. The critical level to watch is this area here. As you can see, it was a resistance here and it used to be one here. Bearish rejection here as well. As long as this area here holds for support, I expect continuation to occur. And then I'm mainly targeting 360, 400. Losing this level would mean that we are going to see continuation downwards. And then I'm pointing at 190 and 153, 160. But for now, that's not a reason to check, so don't be extreme in your targets. It's just a healthy correction through which we are probably making a flag or whatever before we are continuing the movements. Ether BTC, still okay. Hanging around resistance. Moving sideways a little bit. Nice test here, held. The same actually here as on the Ether USDT pair. As long as we remain above 0.025, I assume we're going to see continuation upwards. But for now, this is not defining any clear pattern, so I can't say that much about it. At least we have been making a new high and some decent volume, so it's okay, it's okay. Then the big suspects and the most trending ones. I've been writing some articles on Cointelegraph about these as well. Heavy rejection at the high, couldn't close above it, and we retraced south. For now we are facing the first level of support here, which should be holding, and then we can see some sideways action as well. Losing this level, and I'd start to target the 319 level as a potential long. But for now, holding above 375 should be pretty critical. And the next thing you should be pointing at is, are we going to see a lower high here through which we make a weak bounce with no volume? If so, then we could see a corrective move towards 320, which I assume Bitcoin will hit 88 then as well. If not, and we just start to range a little bit here, then I assume the retracement is done. And we got a nice buy the dip opportunity, which makes me believe that we're going into price discovery. It's a little hard to say as it's heavily depending on Bitcoin at this point. As long as Bitcoin is doing fine, I assume Link can move on as well. BTC pair is at the first level of support as well, as you can see. Holding here would mean that we're going to see continuation, but I preferably want to see a bullish engulfing occur in the next few days. If that happens, then that's fine. But this it's a nice buy the dip entry with a short stop loss here. If we can hold, then I'll be pointing at 37,000 satoshis and 35,000 satoshis. A retracement is healthy. We couldn't break the resistance here. And then you're starting to check whether we can find support at lower levels, which this is the first one. The second one are these two here in the area here, as it's from the late high. So yeah, you basically start checking the higher time frames before you are starting to zoom in. The same can be said from Tezos. Somebody pointed to me that this whole thing here was because of some futures on I don't know what, but if it's bullshit, then why it's respecting the target? I don't know why that occurs then. But Tezos is also giving us a pretty decent new retest soon. If it remains bullish on the daily time frame, I generally want to see the $250 level become support, preferably even 272, but I highly doubt it that this level 272 becomes support. If the 250 level becomes support, that's a nice buy the dip opportunity. And if we zoom in, we can actually see that there is a bearish divergence on this here, on this top here. As you can see, a bearish divergence indicating that there's a trend reversal occurring, which is also healthy for an asset that's up so much. If we can't hold the 250 level as support, then I assume we're going to see some deeper retracements on this one, and then I'll be pointing at 175 as a major buy the dip opportunity. But then I guess we have to see some further retracements on Bitcoin. At this point, this retracement feels healthy, needed. Nothing goes up in a straight line. So I just waited out until we see a confirmed support. There's no point in joining a trade at this point because it's falling down, or it's a retracement without a strategy. If you want to enter here, there's no clear support and no clear stop loss level in my belief. So I just rather wait until we hit a decent support and then I start accumulating, or when we make a strict pattern, so like a bullish flag construction of something from that kind, and then I start to make a trade. There's no need to rush into trades. Well, Bitcoin is bouncing up a little already. Pretty decent hourly there. That's nice. Some volume kicking in as well. So I don't see a reason as a conclusion to be bearish at all at this point. It's just a healthy corrective move. If we drop below 93, then okay, it's bad. But for now, I'm sticking to my bias and to my plan, and expecting that we hold here. And we are going to attack the range highs again. If we don't, then I will see you again at 87.50. Thank you for watching. Thumbs up if you liked the video. Leave a message what you think of it. And see you on next Thursday or Friday with a new requests video.